All right, let's take you back to our top story now, and it is breaking at this hour. Caster Semenya has lost her landmark legal case against athletics governing body, the IAAF. This decision means she'll now have to take medication to reduce her testosterone if she wants to keep running on the international stage. Let's explore the implications of this verdict. Professor Steve Cornelius was part of the legal team that challenged the rules. He joins us now live from Pretoria. Professor, this ruling coming to us just moments ago knocked the wind out of my sails. How are you feeling?
Well, I think it's a huge disappointment, obviously, for all of us. We still need time to study the ruling in much detail. But I think the gist of what I've seen so far is that the panel decided, the arbitration panel decided that in view of the aims that the IAAF seek to achieve, they don't believe that the regulations are disproportionate and therefore upheld the regulations.
So you were part of the legal team. Surely there would have been discussions perhaps around what the options might be for Caster Semenya and many others, but let's focus on Caster Semenya, should the ruling not go in her favor.
Well, yes, just to clarify, I was an advisor. I wasn't strictly part of the legal team, but I did provide some advice and research. Obviously, that's a question that I've been asked a few times in the past. What are the options available? There's a very limited possibility to take the matter to the Swiss Federal Court, but that obviously is limited to instances of clear bias or one or two others, which makes it very difficult, and very often matters challenged before the Swiss Federal Court are unsuccessful. The next option, possibly that one might contemplate, but again, one would have to study the report first and look at the options, could also be to take the matter to the European Court of Justice.
And I understand, you'll tell me whether this is correct, I understand that the Court of Arbitration for Sport has already rejected an appeal against this decision.
Well, it wasn't quite strictly as an appeal. We all referred to it as an appeal, but it was actually challenging the decision by the IAAF to implement the regulations. At the at the Court of Arbitration for Sport itself, there is no further route for appeal. That is the final road. So, as I say, the only other two possible options could be to take the matter to the Swiss Federal Court, or then after that to the European Court of Human Rights. But those are very limited options, obviously.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the athletics body, just various sporting codes, respond to what really is an enormous decision. It's got massive implications for a number of athletes.
I think so, and I think it will have implications and resonance in other sports as well. So I think time will tell to what extent it will impact on other sports and other events in athletics, and also to what extent it might still be challenged in future if it is expanded to other sports. I don't think certainly this is the last word on the matter. I think it was a topic that was quite discussed quite often in the media and in academic circles, and there's a lot of differing views. So I'm sure this is one round in an ongoing debate, and we'll see where it goes in future.
I wonder, Professor, if a number of athletes or sort of the athletics body as a whole, the athletes that compete, be whether they're male, whether they're female, if they were to rally against this decision by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, whether that might have any kind of impact?
Again, one would have to see what happens. I think most often people who feel that they are not directly affected by it choose to keep quiet, and for various reasons. So if more athletes might be affected by it, some might speak up, and we might in future see different challenges arising, or we might not. So I think we'll have to wait and see how this pans out. I'm sure the different legal teams, because remember, it wasn't only Caster Semenya that challenged this. there was also a legal team for Athletics South Africa. And I'm sure both legal teams are studying the ruling at the moment and will then probably announce fairly soon what their next step would be and where they would go from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much for your time on eNCA now. That is Professor Cornelius, who was part of, not per se part of the legal team, but he says, an advisor to Caster Semenya's legal team when it approached the court. Professor Steve Cornelius joining us live there from Pretoria. This is our top story. It is our breaking news story at this hour.